in India, went on to earn his master's degree in science for sustainable development, climate energy, and recycling at Linköping University, Sweden. He's a co-founder at B&B Organics, an initiative that aims to make traditional organic food available worldwide. Since then, he has been working very hard for the benefits of farmers across the globe, making it his mission to provide food items comparable to those found anywhere else in Europe today. We are welcoming Dr. Bala on the screen. I request, yeah, thank you so much. Namaste,
Hi.
Dr. Bala.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you for the nice introduction.
And thank you so much for accepting this invitation and helping us to create this program.
You are very welcome. No problem. Actually, I'm in my village, a beautiful village. It's raining outside. I hope the volume and everything is fine now.
Everything is good enough. We can see you and we can hear you.
Thank you. That's perfect. Good. Let me introduce myself. She explained about me in detail. I am working as an environmental scientist. I'm working on climate change since 2012. I work in Arctic. I work in boreal conditions also. So basically, I'm interested in environmental related things, and I did my bachelor's in agriculture. So I'm too curious about the foods also. After I went to Sweden, when I was in India, I was always conscious about buying foods, consuming it, because I'm always afraid whether it has some contaminations or it has some adulteration, things like that. But after I went to Sweden, I was not that much worried, because government takes so much responsibilities to make sure that their citizens consume good food. Since 2012, I was working on starting my company, B&B Organics. Actually, I started in 2016. But since 2012, I was working on that. While I was working, I was reading and learning a lot of things. During that time, I came across how the adulteration happens in India, and not only in India, all across the world, especially in Asia, and how the even in Europe, the adulteration is one part. The other part is how we process the food, how we store the food. That is very important. So that creates a lot of impact on the food that we eat. For example, if you take rice, rice is a staple food after wheat. Rice, everyone consumes rice regularly. In India, B&B Organics, we sells more than 50 types of rice. I was really surprised when I saw the amazing health benefits of rice. If you take the rice called karpu kauni, it is black in color. It has high anthocyanin content, because usually when we take rice, when we speak about the anthocyanin, usually people say berries like blackberries, blueberries. But if you take the black rice that is called karpu kauni, it has enough anthocyanin. It can help you to have a good immune system and prevents cancer, and it even prevents diabetes. So most of the rice that we had before this green evolution, that is before 1960, had amazing health benefits. So that's why people did not have that much diabetes, and they were really healthy. But this consuming patterns of rice is very important, how we process it. Because some people say that if you take rice, white rice that is heavily processed, only has carbohydrates, that has high glycemic index, and it increases diabetes. If you take the colored rice, red rice, black rice, these type of rice are very good. It has high anthocyanin and it reduces diabetes and things like that. But when it comes to how you eat this rice, how you process it before the rice, has a big impact on your health. Yes, believe me. There is a big article about it in BBC also. Actually, I came to know about this from BBC only. Every crop, when it grows on the soil, it takes not only organic carbon, not only takes nutrients, it also takes heavy metals. If you take carrot, beetroot, green leaf vegetables, it takes more lead. If I think mustard takes more selenium, and rice takes 10 to 20 times more arsenic than other cereal crops. Yes, arsenic is not good for our health. It causes big damages to our body. So every crop, when I say, when I speak only about rice, people are really afraid. Oh, should I not eat rice? No, all the crops take some heavy metals from the soil. So it is our duty to process it clearly to reduce the concentration of these heavy metals. For example, recently I was in a conference and there was a scientist speaking. He said that rice usually takes 10 to 20 times more arsenic. If it grows in less organic carbon content soil, it takes even more arsenic. So a maximum limit of arsenic that can present in food is only zero point 0.2 milligram per kilogram, but takes more arsenic. So the concentration of arsenic when it comes to the rice is more. So you don't want to be afraid of it. Like we have to do certain things which we are doing for the past several centuries, but right now we are not doing that. The only thing is, right, you have to soak the rice for at least 8 hours before you cook it. That is one thing. In BBC, they said that you have to add 5 parts of water. For example, if you put one glass of rice, you have to add 5 glass of rice before, like, you have to soak it with that amount of water. And after that, when you cook it, you have to remove that water and add enough water while boiling. So what we are doing these days, we just add enough water and then we put it in cooker and we close it. And when it gets cooked, when we remove the lid, we see it's completely dry. It should not be like that. It should have enough water. So first you have to soak the rice for 8 hours, and then you are going to remove that water. And then when you put in the cooker, you have to put with enough water so you can remove that water when it gets cooked. The science behind it is the arsenic comes to the water. That's it. So you have to remove that water. BBC, the scientists, they go even one step ahead and they say that we have to rinse we are going to remove the water after boiling. And what they are saying is, like, you have to rinse the rice with the water. That I think it's too difficult to do in the practical condition. So you soak the rice overnight and then remove the water and then boil the rice and then remove the boiled water. If you do this, if you do these things, you can reduce the concentration of arsenic. What the scientists says, or like, if you soak and rinse the water, you can reduce the arsenic concentration to 18%, 1/8. If you are consuming, like, in Europe, they were really afraid because they make a lot of snacks out of this rice, and they make the snacks with the uncooked rice. So they are really worried about it. But we don't want to worry. But what we are doing is very dangerous. We are consuming uncooked rice only, like, because you are not going to soak the rice. You are not going to remove the boiled water. You are just going to wash the rice just for a minute, and then going to put the rice in the cooker, and you're going to cook it. So we are not giving enough place for arsenic to come out of the rice into the water. So what we are eating right now is not at all healthy. And especially when it comes to kids, it's very dangerous, because the amount of rice that are Indian kids and the Asian kids, especially Chinese and Thailand, Bangladesh, Pakistan, everyone, we eat rice. The amount of rice that kids eat is very high compared to the concentration. Like, the concentration is very high when they eat this concentrated rice, like the uncooked rice. Whatever we say is a cooked rice, but when it comes scientifically, it is uncooked only, because we are not giving enough space for arsenic to escape, right? So like, after I read until the age of 20, my mother was cooking food for me. So she's like 70 years old now. She always soaked the rice, and she never used cooker. She used utensils, and she boiled the rice, and she removes the boiled water. That's what she does right now. But after I got married, my wife does in the style that we are doing now. She doesn't soak the rice. She just rinse it for a minute, and then we just cook it. So after we read the article, we started doing this. So I strongly recommend to soak and rinse the rice uh, after before you consume it. So right now the trend is eating millets. A lot of us are eating millets. It's really good. millets is also equally good compared to the traditional rice. But a lot of us are making flours from millets and making those and a lot of foods from it. But again, to millets, make sure you soak it for overnight. It's not for arsenic, it is for phytic acid. So if you soak the millets overnight, the phytic acid, what it does is it limits the absorption of minerals. So if you soak it overnight, the phytic acid concentration gets reduced. So when you consume the millets, it increases the absorption of our stomach gets more chance to absorb the minerals from the millets. So you have to soak the millets overnight before you make it into flour or any batters. After I started this company, like after we start speaking about this traditional method of cooking and foods, I always get this question: should we use the traditional method for spice making, like the spice mixes? Because right now we are using mixie and heavy machineries to grind the spices. I always get this question. So should we use mixie or modern machineries to make the spice mixers, or is it dangerous, or is it healthy or not, and things like that. Scientifically, there are some studies about it. Like spices, if you see the reason for the aroma are the components which are very volatile. So if you use mixie or heavy machineries, the temperature of it goes up to like 70, 80, 90 degrees Celsius. So what happens is the quality of the spices get reduced, and also it induces oxidation of the product. So for example, scientist says that product temperature, especially the spices temperature of up to 90 degrees Celsius in ambient grinding. So in addition to that, there are different types of grinding has come up now, like wet grinding, freeze grinding. If you take the wet grinding, the temperature is around 40 degrees Celsius, I think, and freeze drying is around 26 degrees Celsius. So there are different types of grinding, but whatever we get in the market is a heavily grinded using heavy machineries. It is not at all good for our health. So we lose major aromas, and it also affects the quality. But the thing is, like in our like fast life, we cannot use the normal the methods that we use in our old condition. Like in B&B Organics, we try to produce spice mixes using the traditional methods like stones, but but the cost is very high when it comes to that, because we have to put a separate person for it. So usually we launch some products, and what happens is that we cannot win the market because of cost, and then we start make the products for us itself. That's what happened now. We are making spice mixes and only for us. So my suggestion is like you try to spend like at least 1 hour a week to make your spice mixes on your own, because most of the spice mixes that comes in the packages of plastic, which is again not good. We can speak about the plastics later. So make sure you try to prepare on your own spice mixes, like using like the old methods, or make sure you buy the spice mixer which is prepared using freeze grinding methods. The next important topic is refrigeration. Recently, I went to electrical and electronics shops, and actually it happened a year ago. And the salesperson was explaining things to me, and he told me that he showed me a big brand, and he told me that this particular refrigerator sprays vitamin C once in a while. So I got a question like, why should that refrigerator sprays vitamin C once in a while? So like studies says that when you keep the products in the refrigerator, it affects the nutrients of the product. There is two types of bacteria. One is spoilage bacteria, and another one is pathogenic bacteria. If you take the spoilage bacteria, it grows even under refrigerated condition, but slowly. It affects the food, and so you can, after a while, you can see that the product gets affected, spoiled, so you can throw the food. The other bacteria is pathogenic bacteria. It just stays on the food. It will not affect the food product, but when you consume it, it will affect you. There is a recent study in Delhi. Like, I don't know how many of us clean the fridge every day. They did a survey, and then they found that 10% only clean the refrigerator every week. Scientists suggest we have to clean the refrigerator every week, and we have to keep the temperature of the refrigerator at least 4 degrees Celsius. 4.4 degrees Celsius, that's the exact value. That is the temperature where the spoilage bacteria stops growing. Only 20% of the people had knowledge on how much the temperature of the refrigerator they keep. Usually we store food in the refrigerator for many days. I work in Sweden. Until 2012, I keep food in a refrigerator. Especially we eat quite a lot of chicken meat over there, and I keep in refrigerator for 4 to 5 days. Not in frozen condition. The cooked chicken I keep in refrigerator for 4 to 5 days. It's extremely dangerous. I don't know how I survive. We have to keep only for maximum of 48 hours. It's advisable only to keep it for 24 hours. I usually tell my wife that we buy a chicken. I don't know how many days it is in the frozen condition in the shop. I buy it and keep it in my refrigerator in the frozen condition, and I cook it after maybe a month. I usually tell my wife that by the time the chicken would have gone to another life, and we bought the chicken that came to another life also. So we store the chicken for months. So it is not good. The scientists found that they took the leftover foods and they analyzed for bacteria, and they found that 44.4% of the food had salmonella, 27.7% of food had E. coli, and 11% of the food had fecal coliforms. That was detected in the leftover foods that is in the refrigerator. Yes, most of us don't clean refrigerator maybe once in a month. Some of us cleans once in 3 months. Some maybe once in a year. So we have to clean it frequently. Then only we get rid of these bacteria. There are some tips how to store the foods in refrigerator. Like, keep the refrigerator on even when it is not in use. Do not reheat again and again. Do not store the food. Like, when you take the food out, you're going to use it, and if it's reheated again and you're going to keep it in the refrigerator again, you should not do that. You have to store the raw and cooked foods separately, as well as cut and uncut foods separately. Make sure you cut the roots of green leaf vegetables while storing in refrigerator, which is very important. And I'm coming to the next topic. It's about the utensils for cooking food. I don't know how many of us are using different utensils now. Previously, in my home, which is in like it is 100 kilometers from the place that I'm staying now. Only once a bus goes to that village. If you go to my village now, you can see like bronze, brass, pots, these type of utensils. In my grandma's house, they make oil, ginger oil, that is otherwise called sesame oil. They take the oil, they store it in a dark condition. They don't even go to the oil in the daytime. If oil is finished, it's finished. They go to the place where it's stored only in the evening. They take the oil and they store it in a tinted glass bottles, and then they keep it again in the dark room. This is the condition still they follow. And I think recently I found that this is how we should store the oil, because we store oils in plastic. Make sure you never store oils in plastic for a long condition, because these plastics seep into the oils. Uh, if you see that, if you see the data, more than 300 million metric tons of plastics produced every year. Do you know what happens? Why they're producing the plastics? More than 50% of these plastics are used for food and beverage industry. Yes, these plastics that goes to food and beverage industry only. Uh, like um, like even in Sweden, I have seen this. People keep the food in plastics and they keep it in a microwave and they heat the food. If we ask them why you heat the food with plastic, they say that it's good, it's microwavable, and it's BPA free and things like that. But I don't believe these things. Like I'm a scientist, but since still I don't believe if the scientific environment or anyone says it's good for microwave or like it's BPA free and things like. If you take BPA free, they use BPS and I think BPF, two common replacements used instead of BPA. You can see in the plastic bottles BPA free. Research found that even a dose of 1 part per trillion BPS could disrupt cell functioning and link childhood obesity with BPS and BPF. I think last year this article was came up. Microplastics, it reached even the placenta of humans. Like before the before a child comes to the earth, we contaminate the child with microplastic. It's extremely dangerous. It causes endocrine disruptors and also long-term effects on kids' health. I think they took 20 people and they analyzed the placenta. Some people they had very little concentration. The reason for it is in their everyday life the amount of the plastics they use is very less. I don't use plastic for anything, from storing water to storing spices. For anything I don't use plastic in my home. But I cannot say that I avoid using 100% plastic. No, I still use plastic because in this world now we made like plastics as compulsory because things comes like that. Even I don't use plastic. I'm afraid that this plastic contaminated our soil. One of my friend who is in Austria, he's doing research and he is looking at how this plastic affected our agriculture soil and how in turn it affects the plant's growth and how in turn it gets into the crops like in the rice and other things. It's still under research. Once the data comes up, we'll know like how even if we avoid plastic, how it's going to get into our body. So plastics entered into our day-to-day life and we started using it. If someone says that this is good, you can use stored water or things like that, I strongly suggest not to use that because everyone says that if you use plastic, make sure it doesn't get into harsh environmental conditions. Because when it get into harsh environmental conditions, the property of plastic changes and then it gets into the water or food. So it changes into microplastics. So make sure you avoid plastics, which is good for you, good for your children, and good for the environment also. The next thing is like most of us are using different types of utensils for cooking. But the best one to cook is clay pot because uh, it retains 100% of the nutrients and it is made with the natural ingredients. And when you cook the food in the clay pot, it allows the moisture and heat to circulate throughout the food. These utensils preserve complete nutrition of food. But the only drawback with the clay pot is it takes long time for cooking. And the other thing is like most of us are used to buy things online, so it is very difficult to ship because we got quite a lot of order for clay pots, but we couldn't ship it because it gets damaged very easily. So that is one problem with clay pot. And other is like we are not even using utensils like stainless steel or other things. Some of us are using not aluminum, but we want the food to get cooked very quickly. So we are using cookers and things like that. So I wonder if you'll have time to cook in clay pot, but it's really healthy. But in case if you don't have time, go with the bronze. Bronze is another ideal option for healthy cooking. It retains nearly 97% nutrients. But the thing is like when you buy bronze, make sure it does not have unhealthy amounts of nickel and tin. So there is a place in Tamil Nadu where there is a proper place where they manufacture bronze utensils. The other safe options are brass, cast iron, and stainless steel. But when you buy utensils made of cast iron, make sure you clean it properly and you wipe it properly. Otherwise, rust will form. It is not good to cook food with rust. So you can use different utensils: bronze, brass, cast iron, stainless steel. If you have enough time, make sure you go with clay pot. It is very good. It's cheap, and also it's healthy. In my place, usually we say that if we cook fish with clay pot, it's extremely tasty. But we usually don't do that now because of time limitation. But if you have non-stick, please throw it immediately after the presentation. It is extremely bad because it has different coating. You should not use non-stick at all. It was a trend before, but I think people are changing to different utensils now. So make sure you don't have non-stick now. And some people use granite also, but granite is also not good because again it comes with different coating. So make sure if it doesn't have different coating. Some people store foods in like porcelain. I don't have scientific data for it, but one of my colleagues said that people use chemicals when they make it. So make sure when you buy porcelain, how they make it. It's always good to ask because when you take cell phones or laptops and things like that, when we buy, we almost know everything about it, like what chips they are using, what cameras, what softwares. We almost know everything about it. Although it's just a cell phone, it's just a laptop. It's not going to get into our body. It's not going to change our body. But we try to know everything about it. But if we ask someone to ask about how this bronze utensil is made and does it have any nickel and tin, people start laughing. That's not good. You should know what you're buying, from where it's coming, who is making it. It's very important when it comes to the food, because I'm one of the initially they said like I'm one of the co-founders of B&B Organics. We are selling more than 50 types of rice, more than 10 types of millets, and millet flakes, millet flours, and things like that. For example, when we started selling millet flours, that when we soak it for overnight, when we make flour like that, it's super expensive because when you soak the millets, 20 to 25% of the millet it gets washed away because those millets are not not a good millet, not a good quality one. So it's washed away. So we try to make millet flours with the remaining 70% of the millets that we have. So the cost of the product goes up, but people they don't accept it because in right now in this competitive world, most important thing that we look at is price. So the price should be cheaper and the quality of the product should be good. So it will not happen like that. So when you pay enough money for a product, it will be what you get is a good quality product. So when as a seller of organic product, we come to know, we ask from where this product is coming, and we need to do quality test, and we have to tell the organic certification body which farm is growing. So as a company, we know from where it's coming and all the details. When a customer asks the detail like this from where it's coming, and you have lab test certificates and things like that, the companies they pass the information to you. But mostly we are running this B&B Organics for the past 5 years. In the past 5 years, we have sold maybe we have fulfilled at least 200,000 of orders. Right now, so far, they have asked only like 50 to 60 people. They asked from where this product is coming, how you are making it, is it made under traditional way, is it processed under traditional way. So if you are saying cold pressed oil, what's the temperature? This type of questions only very rarely it comes. For example, if you take cold pressed oil, it is like many of us knows that the cold pressed oil is good for health. But what do you know the temperature at what condition this oil should be extracted? No, not many of us know that. It should be like I think 27 to 30 degrees Celsius. But They say it's cold pressed, but people use iron frame to extract the oil. So when they use it, the temperature of it goes ultimately high. So again, the concept of cold press gets killed. People need cold pressed, but at a lower cost. So what people does is like they use iron frame instead of wooden frame. So the concept of cold press gets killed at that place. So you have to make sure when you're buying, if you are going to spend money for the traditional products, you have to make sure under what condition it is processed. You can even you have rights to ask under what temperatures it is processed. It's very important. So like when you buy foods from outside, you can ask these questions to know what you're eating. uh, I'm done with it. So if you have questions, we can go with these questions.
Okay, so can I ask now?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
sure,
yes.
sure. I was about to say that unmute yourself and ask the question, but thank you so much. You can ask the question.
Okay, so I have couple of questions. So
Yes, please.
while telling about rice part, you had mentioned that mustard absorb lot of selenium, but as far as I understand the fact, the selenium is also needed for our body as a nutrient, as a macronutrient. So, do you think the selenium absorbed by mustard is dangerous? The quantity that is absorbed by mustard, that is dangerous?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, uh, every crops takes heavy metals. Like the thing is, like if we dive deep into it, we need to know under what condition or under what place the crop is grown. I think in West Bengal, the arsenic concentration in the soil is pretty high. If a crop grows in the condition, especially rice, if it grows in that condition, the arsenic concentration would be really high. So we need to worry about it. That's why I said you have to ask from which part the foods are coming up. Like if a mustard is growing in a normal soil condition and if it's taking a normal selenium from the soil, you do not worry about it. It's completely fine. Why I specifically told about rice is because we are moving away from the method of cooking the rice. So we traditionally we had a method of how to cook the rice, soaking overnight and boiling with water. We are moving away from it. That's why I told for rice we have to follow our ancient method of cooking rice. For other crops, what you're following is perfectly fine. We do not worry about it.
Okay. And when we soak the rice for say 8 hours, and then we remove the water that is we have soaked, and then again we cook rice, and again we remove the excess water. So, what do you think the water soluble vitamins and other nutrients that gets washed away because of this process? It
Yes.
contributes to the major part, or and we just eat the starch, or we get the nutrients as well. I don't want to. I mean, I want to make sure this goes this for white rice, the polished rice, red rice, brown rice, or the method and soaking timing is different for different types of rice.
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. When I speak about this, people ask this question. Like when we remove the water, definitely we are going to lose some nutrients. That's true. But the most important thing is like we should not get arsenic poison. So previously, before this, maybe for the past 2 decades, before these 2 decades, we were using boiling method and soaking method only. So we did not lose any nutrients. We were healthy only. So based on the historical thing, I would say we are not getting affected because of this nutrition and losing nutrition during cooking. So it is always better to go with soaking and then boiling the rice and then removing the boiling water. And then coming to the next question, that is red rice, black rice. For all the rice, it's better if you soak it for 8 hours. So we always recommend this for all the rice varieties, even if it's red, black, or white. Like even white rice, if you, I would not say all the white rice are bad. If you take Tuyamali, Mysore Malli, Joha, Gobindabho, Kala Namak, these are extremely good rice. You can go with it. They are rich in dietary fiber because if you take black rice and like red rice, they are rich in anthocyanin. Anthocyanin helps preventing diabetes, but these white rice are rich in dietary fiber. It's again going to reduce the diabetes. But if you take in Tamil Nadu, there is a rice variety called Ponni rice variety. It is a hybrid rice variety. It's launched after 1960, and even Ponni rice variety, if you take the brown rice, it's healthy. But what we are doing is like we remove the brown layer, and what we eat is just the starch. That is why it's very bad. So you can consume white rice if it's traditional rice variety. If you are consuming the modern rice variety which is white, please don't do that. So my strong suggestion is consume black rice, red rice frequently, more frequently, because after I started selling this black rice, white rice, I started consuming it regularly. My father-in-law had diabetes, and I just giving Kartianam rice, which is a red rice, which is very good for diabetes, and black rice, Karupakoni rice. I started giving this rice. His diabetes completely controlled. So this is instead of consuming this white rice, this is pony rice or IR 20 rice, you start consuming this black rice and red rice. Initially, the problem is kids, they don't consume this rice, and it takes quite a lot of time for cooking. My suggestion is like I have a 4.5 years old kid and 2-year-old kid. What I do is like I make idli or dosa or puttu from this rice variety. I add karupakoni rice or red rice and millets, and I soak it overnight, and then I make idli batter from it. That's what we do. We make from it, and kids slowly they will start liking it. Initially, if they don't like it, you add one portion of uh, white
White
rice, that
rice.
the rice that you usually add, and the other portion you can add black rice or white rice. Initially, you start making idlis or dosa from this combination. Once the kids start get used to it, you start making idli or dosa purely from this rice.
Those red owl available in South India, they are made of those red rice. So they also have not equally nutritious like red rice, but do they contain fair amount of nutrition like red rice? So will it be advisable to have it over white poha that we get in North India mostly?
Sorry, I didn't understand your question. Could you please repeat it?
The red owl.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
you get red owl. We get that only in South India. I have found it in only South India. In North India, in Maharashtra, in our place, we won't get it. So, does it contain equal nutrients as a red rice, or if not, does it have a fair amount of nutrition compared to white poha, white owl?
Right. That's another big topic. Uh, I mentioned my website address here. We are selling different types of poha. We are selling in 3 countries: India, USA, and UK. Like not only poha, not only millets, not only rice. Like if you are taking like red rice, we are saying red rice. Uh, there is a rice called red rice, but it is not. It doesn't have any indigenous name. Like if you take Himalayan red rice, it is a red rice. If you take Maple Samba, it is a red rice. If you take Katayanam, it is a red rice. We are selling 9 types of red rice. So, and there is a rice called red rice that doesn't have any indigenous name because the gene pool of it got mixed. So, what we suggest is if you are taking red rice, please know the name of the red rice. There will be a indigenous name for it. So, try to know the name of the red rice. If you are taking Maple Samba red rice this month, take Cartian red rice next month. After that, take Himalayan red rice. After that, take Punga red rice. There is a red rice called Punga, which is extremely good for women. We call it as woman rice itself. There is a white rice called Tuyamani. That is called kids rice. It's very good for kids. After the age of 50, you can consume Karupakoni, black rice. So if you are taking one rice this month, take next rice another month. We are not going to live with just apple. We are going to consume pineapple. We are going to consume watermelon. We are going to consume banana. So we are eating fruits, three or four fruit, 3 to 4 types of fruits every week. But why do you consume only one type of rice for the whole life? That is not good. That's not good for health. Every rice has rich in nutrients, rich in medicinal properties. These types of rice are used in Ayurveda treatments. So, like we get a lot of orders from the doctors only. So they suggest this rice for different people. So coming to your question, poha. So if you are consuming red poha this month, please consume white poha next month. White poha, like if they made this white poha with the kalanam rice, it's extremely good. If this white poha is made with polished rice, that is hybrid rice, please avoid that. There is poha made from red rice. There is poha made from millets, different types of millets. There is poha made from black rice. We are selling those. There are pohas available in Amazon also. So you can buy those pohas and you can use this. So don't if someone says this red poha is good for health, please don't stick to the red poha for several months. Change to another poha. You come back to this poha after 6 months or 8 months. So you can get the health benefits of the other pohas also. Pohas are really good. But let me tell a story about this poha also. Um, like a customer ordered poha to us in Flipkart, and she called my CRM team and she made a complaint because when she puts the poha of the she compared this poha with the mueslis that's available in the market. If you put the mueslis, it is like it makes some sounds and you can store those mueslis for months without any issues. But if you buy the pohas that is made in traditional way, you cannot store it for more than 2 weeks. It does not make any sense. It just comes down slowly, and it will get fungus attack within 2 weeks. The reason is these types of pohas. The difference between the muesli that is available in the market and the poha that you buy is those mueslis has a lot of preservatives and they are made with like 4 tons, 5 tons big machineries. They come and hit the grains. But the pohas that you buy from the traditional ways, or they're just soaked overnight and they just press it gently. That's it. And they dry it under sunlight and they give it to you. Still, it has some moisture. So when you buy it, you have to use it quickly. If you wish to store it for a long time, you just heat it to the level that you can bear the heat, and then you store it in a air bag or in a glass bottle with airtight. That's it. You can store it for at least 2 months, 3 months. So this is
How do
how.
you how do you
Yes.
how do you take out the toxins from dals?
Uh, I'm sorry. What kind of toxins you mean?
See, as you said, all rice, whatever it is, everything has chemicals and toxins, right?
Mhm.
That we soak it, then take out the water. Then again,
Mhm.
you should cook in traditional way,
Mhm.
and again take out the water,
Mhm.
right? Then
Yes.
how do you do it for dals, as we do
Uh,
everyday sambar, like no?
yes. Actually, for dals, I think we are not using any. We did not change the methods of cooking as like rice. I think because we still soak the. In my home, we still soak the dal. Because the dal that we use are traditional dals, it will take quite a lot of time for cooking. We
Oh,
soak the dal and then remove the water and then we cook it in a just utensil. We boil it and then we just
oh,
use it. That's what
oh.
we use.
Okay, even
And the
for
next
dals,
thing,
we have to soak it, take out the
yes,
water,
yes,
then again put fresh water, then cook it in
yes,
traditional
yes,
way, right?
yes. That's what we do.
एंड एंड व्हेन वी बॉयल वहां पे ऊपर से थोड़ा झाग आ जाता है, उसको रिमूव करना चाहिए कि
Sorry, could someone please translate it to me?
Like while cooking the dals, we will get one type of white thing on while cooking
He's
the
talking
Yes,
about
dals,
yes,
right?
yes,
the
Should we
froth
yes.
and the
take it out?
foam.
That's what she is telling. She's asking.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it's better to take it. But the next, I'm coming to the next important thing. Please don't worry too much about the heavy metals or nutritional laws or things like that, because we are consuming this for a long time and we cannot track down everything that we buy or that we use. So you don't want to worry much about it. But the specific reason why I told about the rice, oil, and spice are These are the things that we deviated a lot from the process that we used before. We started using refined oil, which is extremely bad for health. We started using spices, using modern machineries, grinding it. And rice, we completely changed the processing, cooking method, which is extremely bad. One of my customers stays in Bangalore. He's extremely sensitive to chemicals, and he doesn't even use cell phones. He bought rice from us, and he started using, and he gives blood test frequently, and he found increase in arsenic content in his blood. And we suggested this method, and he used this method, and the arsenic content in his blood got reduced. So for most of the foods that we use, the methods that we use are the method that we are following for centuries. So we don't want much worry about the other method. Rice, we changed the company. So please switch back to the ancient method that we used.
Then when we prepare idli, dosa, even for that we need to soak, take out the water, then put
Yes.
fresh water, then grind it, right?
Yes, please. That is the method I recommend.
Okay.
Yeah. Sir, I had a question, please.
Where's your shop? I just want to know whether is it in Bangalore? Do you have any branch in Bangalore?
Sorry, ma'am. We don't have any offline shops. We are an online shop. We sell all over in India, US, and UK.
Okay.
Sir,
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I had a question. What is your take on the usage of the pressure cooker?
Sir, actually, I did quite a lot of research on that, and I'm trying to find articles. But people are saying like there is no much difference, and it's cooking under a pressurized condition, so it's not giving much effect. Things like that. As a scientist, I believe that it is not creating much effect on the food. But when food, many of us eat biryani, when you make biryani in cooker, it tastes less than the biryani that you make slowly. My mother, she's 70 years old. She never likes food that is made in cooker. So there is a difference, the taste difference. It comes when it comes to the cooking in cooker and in slow condition using normal utensils. But I couldn't find any health effects or things like that by cooking in cooker or normal utensils. Maybe it demands more studies. Maybe in future some people may do some studies and they find some effects on it. But I'm not sure anything about it now.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome.
Dr. Bala, we have a question in our chat box by Ida Menon, and she's asking, is it good to have cow's milk? Some scientists say that humans don't really need any type of milk in their diet. Is this true?
Actually, I don't drink milk. I believe it's true because Dr. I follow Dr. Hegde's. I'm not a follower, but I see Dr. Hegde's speech. He strongly says don't drink cow's milk. And I was in yoga. I was learning yoga. In that also, the yoga teacher strongly says don't drink cow's milk. But in Europe, like my colleagues, they drink quite a lot of cow's milk, and I saw people their average lifetime is like 80, 90, and they drink a lot of cow's milk. But I didn't see any reduction in life expectancy. So it's a contradictory one, but I don't drink cow's milk. I don't drink tea or coffee, anything. So straight, I cannot give any straight answers, but I think we can survive without cow's milk. There won't be any issues. So next, let me read the questions in the chat. How about using glass containers for storage? It's extremely good. Please go with it. So use glass containers. I use always glass containers for storing foods. And when you store oils, use tinted glass for store oils, because oil should not be exposed to sunlight also. So please try to use tinted glass containers for oils. Can we use soap water of millets? I would say no. Please don't do that. Excuse me, let me drink some water. So the next question is, what's the name and website of your company? My company name is B&B Organics, and I mentioned the company website details below. What's the best cold pressed oil to use for day-to-day cooking? I use gingerly oil, and I use virgin coconut oil also for frying and consuming. So these two oils that I use. Sometimes I used groundnut oil also. Could we get a copy of this? The next question is, can we blend oils at home to get different nutrients from different oils? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Prasida. I don't know much about it, but I use different oils in my everyday's life, but I don't blend those oils. I use it at a separate condition only. Is it good to have cow's milk? Yes. And then, how should the proper method for cooking vegetable? That's a good question. Uh, most of the vegetables, I have farm. I have a farm near my house, so I try to make most of the vegetables and try to use most of the vegetables as raw as possible. I cook spinach and other things. Some of the vegetables I don't cook. Even if I cook, I cook slightly because these vegetables loses nutrients quickly. So the problem is spinach. It's extremely good, but the thing is, like, we should know from where it's coming, like I said before, because these spinaches grow near ditches, or grows in a soil which is highly contaminated, or things like that. So especially for spinach, or if your kids are eating carrots raw, if they're eating any things which is uncooked, please make sure from where it's coming. If you are asking the shopkeepers, they may laugh, but try to ask that question again and again. It's very important. So you will get a good food, especially when it comes to vegetables and spinaches. So I don't buy spinaches outside. I try to make it on my own. And some of the vegetables also, I try to make it on my own. Being a, being a vegan, what risks might there be with plant milks? I'm sorry, Jan. I don't have much knowledge about these things. How about cheese? Yes, I consume cheese. A lot of cheese. I consume a lot of curd and things like that. So I don't consume cow's milk, but I consume a lot of byproducts made from it. Because lactose intolerance comes a lot. Like a lot of our people has a lot of lactose intolerance, but I think if they consume curd and things like that, they're only because it has a bacteria, it prevents those things. So I consume these things like cheese, and it's good. There won't be any issues, I think. Is stainless steel harmful? No, not at all. But make sure it doesn't have any other coatings. I use stainless steel. Stainless steel is good. I would not say bad. I think, if I'm not wrong, 50 to 60% of the nutrients are retained compared to bronze or pot. Stainless steel retains less nutrients, but it's not harmful as like non-stick. Should we use protein powder? Mm, I never used anything like that, but I don't have any scientific data to back up those things. So I'm sorry. Maybe have your email ID. Sure.
Sir, if you can throw a little bit more light on refined oil, and because it has become such an inevitable part of our life, it is very difficult to get cold pressed oil uh, in a pocket friendly way to use it every day. And mm, a little bit about the deep frying, reusing the oil, storing the deep fried oil and reusing it, or you know, and and yes, and a little bit about air frying, if you can, if you know, if you can throw a little bit light on that.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, cold pressed oil, let me tell you a cost calculation. Based on that, you can buy good cold pressed oils. For example, if you are buying a cold pressed oil for rupees 200 per liter, it's not real cold pressed oil. For example, today groundnut cost per kg is 115 per kg. Again, some people they say two quality. One is oil quality groundnut and the seed quality groundnut. Oil quality groundnut is a small one, poor quality one. They use it for making oil, and the good quality one is the seed quality, and they use it for like making peanut candies. And when you buy groundnut directly, they give only those seed quality. So I would say 95% of companies available in the market are making oils when it comes to groundnut. Groundnut oil are made from this oil quality groundnuts. That is the poor quality one. So because if you take the poor quality groundnuts, it's just 90 rupees per kg. So if you take the good quality one, it's 115. So you have to use at least 2.5 kg of groundnuts to extract 1 liter of oil. So if I'm buying in bulk, I have to spend at least 240 rupees to 250 rupees to to extract 1 liter of oil. So including packing cost and everything, I have to keep at least rupees 300 to 320 or 340 for 1 liter of groundnut oil. But if you are buying groundnut oil, cold pressed groundnut oil for 200 rupees, so they used some adulteration, or they have used very poor quality ones of very poor quality groundnuts. So this is one price calculation that you can, let me tell you the price so you can, everyone can buy a better cold press oils. For gingerly, the price right now per kg is 150 rupees. So per kg, so again they have to use at least 2.5 kg. So its cost itself comes around 350 rupees. And again, it depends upon whether they are using palm jaggery or surcan jaggery. If they are using surcan jaggery, it's cheap. They are using palm jaggery, it's expensive. For per liter oil, you have to spend at least 400 rupees for ginger oil to buy good quality one, at least 400 rupees. Groundnut, a good quality groundnut, like I told, it's 115 rupees. If you're buying in bulk, you have to spend at least 110 rupees. So if you are spending 300 to 350 rupees, you can buy a good quality cold pressed oil. So for coconut, if you spend like 250 to 300 rupees, you can buy a good quality one. So because they are going to charge you for like packing cost, sticker cost, and everything. So at the end of the day, you have to spend at least 300 rupees for coconut oil. So this is the cost for cold pressed. And for deep frying, I use virgin coconut oil or ginger oil. These two things I use. But I also use groundnut oil. In Kerala, people use coconut oil also. So for deep frying, you do not worry much. You can go with ginger oil, but make sure whatever the oil you use, you make sure don't heat it too much that it uh, produces a lot of smoke. That is not good for any oil. So you try to heat it using oil, but not too much. I think
Sir,
I answered the question. Yes,
sir,
please.
how about reusing this deep fried oil, because we need a bigger quantity when we deep fry, and the leftover oil is really difficult for housewives to throw away. Thinking it is so expensive. So how about reusing that oil? We should just throw it away right away or after using, or is there any best way to like store it for a few days or reuse it?
Please never use the oil again. It is purely carcinogenic. So if you use the oil once, use it only once. That's it.
Sir, how do you take out the pesticides from vegetables? Because lot of pesticides they would have used while growing vegetables, right?
Yes, that is insane. That is pretty bad. Uh, like I'm an agriculture science. I'm an agriculture student also. I saw like before they bring cauliflower to market, they soak the cauliflower in the pesticide and they just bring it and keep it in the market. The amount of pesticide that is used heavily or for chili, that is the number one. Number two is, I think, cauliflower. Third is grapes. I don't buy chili outside. I eat cauliflower only when I'm in Europe. I don't eat grapes at all in India. So in case if you're buying these things, like any vegetables and things like that, make sure you wash it with warm water as much as possible and keep it in the water for enough time before you cook it. So it is you cannot remove the pesticides completely, but you can remove to the level. But please follow these steps because some of the pesticides are systemic pesticides, which is poisonous. If you eat these pesticides, it will not cause the effect immediately, but it will this systemic pesticide. Name itself, it is system. It stays in your system for a long time and kills the organs slowly.
Actually, what we do is we bring vegetables in a big bowl. We put water. We put some turmeric and rock salt, and
yes,
soak it for a while. Then again clean it in plain water. Then dry it. Then we use it.
yeah, this is much better. Please do that. Please, if you have chance, if you have balconies or if you have any place, try to grow your own vegetables. You need very less space only for growing vegetables, unimaginably less space. You try to grow your own vegetables. That is much better because usually we say we don't have much time, but it is the matter of just question if you are going to spend much time now or later. Because now if you spend much time for growing vegetables and buying good food, then you are going to spend less time in the future for diseases. That's it. So try to spend more time to make your own foods.
Friends, I'm so sorry. We have just 2 more minutes left. But one last question from the chat box, Bala, Dr. Bala. It's what about cooked food in microwave? Is it okay? It's by Roli Mistra.
I don't have much data. Like I discussed this quite a lot with my friends. I would say okay, but I don't have any scientific data. But one of my friend who is a scientist, he tested it in lab and he said that he cooked that food. He cooked the food in microwave and also in a normal stove, and he tested the microbial count. The good microbial count is almost nil when cooked in microwave, but there is no scientific data to back it up. As far as everyone says, it's just a wave, so it is not causing any effect. But so far it's okay. But if you are so much concerned, please don't use microwave.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Bala. And thank you everyone for joining us. I hope this session was quite informative for you. And the people who are asking us recordings, we'll share the recordings. We'll share B&B Organic's website details. We'll also share Dr. Bala's email address so that you stay in touch. And we are looking forward to many more programs with Dr. Bala so that he keep informing and spread the awareness about having good food with the human community. Thank you so much, Dr. Bala.
Thank you. You are very welcome.
Thank you everyone for joining us. We are ending this session here and you'll soon find mails in your inbox related to B&B Organics. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.